and we'll just give people 2 more minutes to join and then we'll get started. So just hang tight. Great. So let's start, and hopefully more people are joining shortly. I've just reposted again in the chat. So for everyone, this is our first episode of How Did You Do It? This is a series of fireside chats led by the Yay Chapter Kenya. We're super thrilled to have 2 amazing young Kenyan entrepreneurs with us today who are going to talk about their story and explain exactly how they did it. So without further ado, I'm going to let each of those entrepreneurs introduce themselves. If everyone can keep their microphones on mute for the first part of the discussion, and then we'll do Q&A following after, where you can pose your questions directly. But you don't need to wait till the end of the discussion. You can pose your questions in the chat throughout the session. So first off, I'd like to invite our moderator to this session to briefly introduce herself, Ms. Ifra Arab Mohammed. So Ifra, if you'd like to introduce yourself, please.
Thank you, Claire. Hello, everyone. My name is Ifra Arab. I am the founder and CEO of Supermom. Supermom is a social enterprise that empowers women from marginalized communities here in Kenya, especially in the northeastern part, to create a sales force that distributes fast-moving consumer goods within their communities. I also serve the Yay co-ambassador here in Kenya. And I'm really thrilled to have 2 really amazing entrepreneurs today joining us for the How Did You Do It session. I'm really looking forward to the conversations that we're about to have. I'm really inspired to have them here today, and I'm just going to let them introduce themselves. So thank you and welcome, Nancy.
Thank you so much, Ifra. For the introduction bit, I'll just be very short and say my name. My name is Nancy Amunga, and I am the CEO and founder of Dana Logistics. Basically, what we do is helping people, to have an easy life, especially in Nairobi and this world as a whole. So we specialize in clearing and forwarding, corporate deliveries, transport, and as well as we are big on exporting flowers. So we all know that Kenya has amazing flowers, from roses to lilies to, like, name it all. So Kenya to the world, that's what we do.
Thank you, Nancy. I'm really looking forward to the conversation we're going to have today and learning more about the work that you do. I'd like to invite Nelma, our other speaker today, to introduce herself.
Hi, thank you for that, Ifra. So my name is Neema Nkatha. I'm the founder and CEO of Ohana Swimwear. So we design, manufacture, and sell African print swimwear. And our vision is mainly, to change the narrative of Africans don't swim. Yeah, so that's basically it.
Thank you, Neema. I would really start this session now. And the first question today, we're talking about how did you do it? Would be what sparked interest? I'd like to know how you started. What was the inspiration behind Dana Logistics? How did you start on swimwear for Neema Nkatha? So please, Neema, to go first. Would you like to tell us what sparked your interest? How did you come up with Ohana? What was the starting point?
Yes, so for me, the whole idea of Ohana Swimwear came out of a personal need, because I was preparing to travel to Europe during summer, and I was looking for swimwear but I wanted something that's, you know, authentic, original, and that has African and ethnic roots. So I started doing my research here. I started looking for swimwear here in Kenya and East Africa, and I realized we don't have. So that's how the idea came to just start the whole swimwear brand. But initially, it was due to a personal, it came out of a personal need, due to a personal need. Yes. So eventually, once I realized, because I realized there are other countries in Africa who had their own African print swimwear, but in East Africa, we didn't have any. So I started doing my research, how to design, how to mash up the, you know, different colors and fabrics and prints. And I found a factory which I was able to make the first, I was able to order the first design, and I traveled with it, and all my friends were asking, where did you get this? Where did you get this? So I was like, this can actually be a business. I was still in uni. I had like one semester left. So I was like, I'll try this out for this year. If it doesn't work out, then there's always plan B. But yeah, thank God it worked out.
Thank you, Nema. So I'm getting that it was a personal need. So you realized this gap in the market and you took it and decided to create the and help solve other people's problems. Nancy, if you could please tell us also what sparked your interest. How is it that you founded Dana Logistics?
So for me, I think it's also personal. When I finished my diploma, I tried looking for a job. I couldn't get a job. And then I decided, instead of instead of complaining, because I know the unemployment rate is very high, why don't I, like be part of the solution and create something? So like right now I've employed myself and I've also employed other people. So I believe that, like, I'm on the side of, someone who's giving solution to this world. So there's a time I bought a TV online, and then I was like, it's really taking so long to be delivered to my place. And Nairobi is like 30 kilometers. The radius is like 30 kilometers. And I was like, why are these people not delivering? And when you're buying something for the first time, you're so excited. I'm like, when will this TV get to my home? I need to start watching it. So it took like a week, and I was like, oh my God, I think I'm starting to notice something, because my background is in media and communications, right? So I was like, there's something here. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't know anything about logistics. So for the 6 years that I've been doing logistics, I have been doing and learning on the job. And so my greatest encouragement to people is, at times they're like, I don't know how to do it. How will I go about it? What will happen? And most of the times when we are speaking about what will happen, we tend to focus on the negative side. So my greatest lesson is, start from the known to the unknown every time. Just start from the known to the unknown. And I'll give an example. Like, maybe you're driving at night, and maybe you're driving from Nairobi to Mombasa. When you're leaving Nairobi, do you see Mombasa? No, you don't see Mombasa. You can only see up to a certain extent. So which means you're driving from the known to the unknown, but with the with the faith that you will get there. So for me, my story is very simple. That's how I started. It's been a journey, but many mistakes later, here I am. Yes.
Thank you so much, Nancy. That is really inspiring. I mean, it is true, you drive from Nairobi heading to Mombasa, you just know the destination is there, but you're driving to the unknown. So this is really inspiring to hear. It's good to hear about, taking up the responsibility yourself to create these jobs and waiting, because unemployment rate is really high. Here, I do, echo your thoughts when you talk about logistics and learning on the job, because some of the things that we do at Supermom also involves a bit of logistics. that is something that was not also part of, my learning at law school. So it's something that, I learned on the job every single day. And like a quick follow-up, just to understand, how you built Dana Logistics. So from this need that, you realized and wanting to create a solution for this, there's all these people facing the same anxiety. There's all these people waiting for their goods to be delivered, and wanting to create a solution for them as well. How was it like? How did you mobilize the resources? Because I assume there's so many things that go into this. So how did you, let's start from the beginning. Like, how did you start? How did you mobilize these resources? Because there's many young people on this call today, and some of them might start a business and just, are worried about how to start. So if you could please, how you mobilized your resources, how you started.
Oh yeah, thank you. That's a very good question, because I know everyone who wants to start a business, they're like, how will I get my capital? I know that question is very big, but for me, let me just give my personal experience. I didn't get a loan, because I know so many young people run to getting loans. Like, you make a very good business plan and then, like, go get a loan. I did not get a loan. How I did, let me just give you a background. There are a lot of licenses that are needed, especially when you want to start logistics. So there's the issue of, even if you have the capital, do you start the business, or do you pay for the licenses and go back home and look for the rest of the capital? So for me, it was more of personal saving. And then what happened, I had saved like around 700 USD. And then there's this forum that I attended, and it really had incredible people. And this organization looked very legit. And they were helping young people on motorbikes, because how we started with motorbikes. And the main aim was because of traffic. Like, if you want something delivered from point A to point B, I mean, you guys are in Nairobi, know the traffic situation. So we really wanted to help people with that. So I went to this forum, and they're like, one of the things they're doing is help young people own motorbikes. And I was like, wow, I just came to the right place. So you were paying around 300 USD, and then they'll give you a motorbike, and then the rest you will pay slowly. I know you guys understand these kind of arrangements. So I gave out my money, and until date, I never saw the motorbike. So that's how I started my business. And I told someone about it, and they're like, wow, now you've been initiated to the business world. Now you've been, I don't know how to call it, but now welcome to the business world. So that's how I started. I started by getting swindled. And then after that, I had to go back again to the drawing board. So I was doing some, like manual works. I've sold insurance. I've done like so many things. So I decided, let me just go back and start saving, and start with one motorbike. I don't need to start with 10, just start with one. So I went back, and my mom helped me with like 200 USD. And I think it's safe to say moms are special, because she was like, I really don't understand the whole idea, but it's fine. Let me give you this 200 USD, and then, you'll start. So with the licenses, I risked, and I decided to start with the basics. What exactly do I need? I need parking for this motorbike. I need the business permit. I know you guys know about these things. So yeah, that's exactly how I started. So I just started small, and it's been a journey. That's why I'm saying it's been a journey. Where I am right now, it hasn't been an overnight success. One motorbike, and then, like every day you learn, and you're like, how do I diversify? And that's how we diversified to, even exports. So yeah, I did not get a loan. It was more of personal saving. And for me, that's really what I'd advise. If you don't need to get a loan, please don't rush to get other people's money if you're not so sure. Yeah.
See, thank you for sharing your story with us. It's really inspiring. You took a risk, went with it, and did not back down even after you didn't see the motorbikes. that must have been tough, putting in all your savings and then getting disappointed and then, coming back up and again push. And thanks for also mentioning parental support and for touching on loans. And I'm just going to quickly move to Nema because I know that from research, I do understand that Nema also had parental support. And she's going to touch maybe about loans a bit because I think she had a different experience. So if we could hear both sides. Welcome, Nema. Please share with us how you started Ohana and how you mobilized your finances, especially.
Yeah, so you're actually right. For me, the first design, my father is the one who lent me some money so that I could produce the first ones, but there were very few, and we're just using them. I was using them to do like my due diligence and trial and error. So after I realized, okay, this can actually be a business. So we saw options and we're like, why not apply for a bank loan? So I had my parents. The reason why I think the loan was approved because I had my parents as guarantors, because the business has to be in operation for at least 6 months before you're qualified for a loan. But mine was just relatively new, and it was an untested untested market rather, or industry. Nobody had done swimwear, so I had my parents as my guarantors, and I got the loan from the bank. But as Nancy said, I would advise people, if you can help it, do not get a loan for at least when you're starting out, because of the interest rates. It's like it eats up all your profits, and it's just really, really expensive in the long run. But if you don't have, I'd suggest you get money from, relatives, friends, or even angel investors when you're starting out. But yeah, but that was my experience. And so when it came to, I didn't even have a budget for, ads and marketing. So what happened was I had to think of even how to advertise my swimwear and all that stuff. So I couldn't afford to pay the, influencers, because am I going to pay the bank or these people? Am I going to repay, So what I did was I had my friends who bought the swimwear. So I had them do a photo shoot, and I had my friends advertise. So they advertised to their friends, like they post and tag. And then it became a whole thing where I created, just a community of, like, it's like a larger family. And that's the whole essence of Ohana, because it lies in the meaning of a larger family. People who are not necessarily related by blood, but they're bonded and connected through, culture, loyalty, support, and love towards each other. And that's the community I managed to build. Yeah, in for Ohana, yes.
Thank you, Nema. I'm just going to just briefly also just share my experience with Supermom, and mine was a bit different. So for me, starting off, I did require, capital, as all entrepreneurs do. But what I did was I was fortunate enough to have, a few friends who had started a green venture company that was, manufacturing charcoal briquettes from I think plant waste. And what they did was they were just starting off. I was just starting off, and I wanted to do a whole model with this women distributing these goods within my community. So we decided to help each other. I think that's like the best way to put it. So what I did was partner with Grincha at the time and get their products, because it was easier having them believe in me and have their products become the first sort of like products the women that we had would actually, sell, just to prove the model. So what we did was pilot with the products that Grincha was selling, and then see how this, just to prove like how the model was going to work. So ideally, we were going to work with fast-moving consumer goods, but then, we were ready to just work with any products we'd get at that point to just see if, we can test out and see how the model was going to work. And that worked, amazingly for us at the beginning. So that could work for, some of us as well. That's a different perspective. But yeah, it's really interesting to hear how Nancy, how you started, how Nema started. And, what I'm getting from all this is just that, like, don't be put down by, capital, don't be put down by finances. If you let that block you, then, it's going to be killing your dreams. Like, just start, just push, you never know. So thank you. I'm just going to follow up that question with, I know, Nancy, you've mentioned a bit of the challenges that you faced while you started, but then if I could just learn more about the challenges that, both of you faced, like, during this entrepreneurial journey, because it's not an easy thing. I can speak from experience. So I'd just like to ask, if I could direct this to Nema first. Nema, how you mentioned something about, I think, please correct me if I'm not saying it correctly or how I'm going to phrase it, but just, I'm taking away from how, like, people believe that, the belief that Africans don't swim, and just not having a swimwear brand that is Kenyan, like, you saw in other countries. So how was it starting? Like, what were some of the challenges that you faced? How have you killed this belief? And how has it been going for you?
Yeah, so obviously Africans swim. So that was number one, the biggest misconception. And just even seeing the statistics that were out there, like according to World Health Organization, they were saying, Africans have the highest drowning deaths in the world, and which is, 15, 20 times higher than in developed countries. That was obviously a big red flag to me. And so that's why I started my brand, and my mission and the vision was literally centered around that, because our slogan is African swim. We do swim. And for us, we're doing our part, by ensuring that Africans from all walks of life have access, not only access to swimwear, but also the knowledge that gives them the confidence to step into the water from when they're, children to adults. So obviously one of my first and biggest challenge when I was starting out was, people constantly trying to bring you down and not believing in your brand. So this, I feel like now people are starting to see the essence of it, but initially they were like, do we even swim? Who's going to use this? And I remember I asked like certain people, like I did a survey and I was like, how many people don't know how to swim? And even regardless, how many people still, even if you do or don't, how many people still go to the beach? How many people still go, like the hotels, they like lay around the pools, they go relax by the pools and the beach and all that. So everyone still does that. So literally, and then all of them still buy costumes, they still buy beach outfits. So basically it's still a necessity. We're still an untapped, need and market, and untapped product, that I stumbled upon. And for me, I wanted to create something that, celebrates our heritage and also flatters and complements our body types as well. So another challenge was also, how hard it is to, remain consistent and also trying to rebrand, not only as a business, but also as a person. So that one I've tried to navigate and just see how I can maneuver around it, because now it being we're in a pandemic and my brand is, a seasonal brand. So trying to just find creative ways to just even stay relevant and keep up with the trends, not only just keep up with the trends, but just create timeless collections that doesn't matter with the trends or what year it is. So those have been some of my challenges. And then another one has been also trying securing finances, especially when planning on scaling the business. And as you all know, getting finances is one of the, biggest challenges many entrepreneurs face in today's economy. And for me, the things that helped me, especially during the pandemic, is taking part in this entrepreneurship competitions where you win a grant at the end of it, you win financial support, grants, all that. So I would say that's one of the ways people can, get money, and also just looking for angel investors as well. Yeah. Or approaching, companies or foundations that are in line with the values and ideas that support your business. So that's basically been mine. Yeah.
Thank you, Nema. I think I'm going to, quickly come back to some of the trends or some of the methods that you used, to remain consistent. But before that, I think I'd like to pose this question to Nancy, because I do understand that, the logistics space is a male-dominated space. It's a male-dominated industry. And, it's not easy. You just mentioned, how you started with motorcycles. And, I'm thinking about even in the Kenyan perspective, it's not that easy to find a female rider as well, leave alone, somebody leading the logistics company who's female. So growing it to an export, now you guys are exporting flowers. That's huge. So what are some of the challenges that you faced, and how have you been able to overcome them?
So I like that Nema mentioned this. So many people not believing in you when you're starting. Like when I was starting, people are like, "Will you manage? Do you know about logistics? It's not like selling shoes and clothes and whatever." So there are a lot of discouragements, and people are like, "Do you know how many people have do deliveries or have logistics companies?" It's okay. When you're starting out, not so many people will believe in you, which is okay. There's so many people who are doing business. You're not the first one. You're not going to be the last one. But just start. People will believe in you as you move. Don't let that hinder you. And I say the cake is big. You just need to cut your piece and you're good to go. So always keep that in mind. This cake is big, like we all cannot finish it, so you just go cut a piece and then figure out what to do with it. And then keep learning. This life is about learning every day, and stay around people who motivate you. I always say motivation is like taking a bath. You don't take once and say, now I am clean forever or for the rest of my life, So keep learning, keep relearning, get a mentor. That was a very, big challenge that I had. I didn't have anyone to walk with me, because I feel like if I had someone to walk with me from the start, I wouldn't have gotten swindled, because I would have learned how to do due diligence. Because I know that's one thing that we rarely do. So when someone comes with a deal on the table, it doesn't hurt to tell them, let me sleep on it, let me think about it, no matter how good the deal is. Because I've realized when people come to swindle you, they kind of pressurize you and make you feel like if you don't do it now, you're going to lose the whole opportunity. And then on the learning bit, there are so many ways of learning. You can learn from people. Like right now, today, I'm starting a course with ITC. It's about blockchain. So yeah, just, find different platforms of learning. And then, like I said, it's okay not to have everything figured out from the start. When we speak right now, we make it look easy because we are speaking, but it's not easy. And I just want to tell people, it's not easy. It's very hard. And if you're going into it because you think Nema has made it, Ifra has made it, so I think I can also make it, then I think you're going in with the wrong intentions. It is not easy. And it's okay to cry at times. I know this is a very risky statement to say to African men, because I know there are men here who have joined the session. But seriously, we are not here to judge. So it's okay to cry at times, because we all break down at times. And this journey is a very difficult journey. So it's okay to cry at times. When you fall down the 8th time, just pick yourself up the 9th time, dust yourself off, and keep moving. All right. So for me, that's what I'd say. These are things that I've learned the hard way. And that's why it gives me a lot of pleasure to, like speak in, these kind of sessions, because I'm like, if someone else can learn from me and not do the same mistakes that I did, then the better for them. Because if I had a mentor, I wouldn't have done, I wouldn't have made some of the mistakes that I made. Yeah.
Thank you, Nancy. This is so inspiring. I don't know about you guys, but I'm really, really so inspired. So I'd just like to recap. Don't be discouraged, guys. Block out the noise. Block all kinds of noise. Like, block out the negativity. Don't be discouraged. Don't be discouraged by your age. Don't be discouraged by your lack of knowledge. As we've seen, Nema's background is not in design, neither is Nancy's in logistics. I do not also have a background in, social entrepreneurship, even logistics, even FMCGs. But yeah, you learn along the way. So long as you have the passion and you have that vision and this is what you want to create, then go for it. Learn along the way. There's so many opportunities for you to learn. So don't be discouraged by knowledge. Nancy's mentioned something really important about community and like having the people around you support you. Nema's also echoed the same thing. And I'd just like to say, it's what we're trying to do with the YE community. And, especially here in Kenya, like having that community where young entrepreneurs or like anyone who's looking to get into entrepreneurship, being able to find that sort of community, have, a group of entrepreneurs who they can talk to, who they can, share opportunities with, share knowledge with, encourage each other and support each other, because that's very key when you start off. You need people who push you, you need people who guide you, and that's really important to have. That's what we're trying to do with the chapter here in Kenya, so feel free to join if you're not part of it, guys who are on the call. And then don't be in a rush, as Nancy said. Really, don't be in a rush. It's it's not about getting the. Sometimes the deal is too good to be true, but then don't be in a rush. Evaluate and just take your time. I'm just going to ask about how you carved out your niche. So Nama, you mentioned something about keeping up with the season and like keeping up with the trends and creating different things to keep people interested. You have so many competitors making swimwear here in Kenya as well. I know they're not, a lot of them are Kenyan made swimwear. So, but still, it's different. So how did you carve out your niche? And, because I do understand that with Ohana, you also had to get out of your comfort zone. So how was it, building your personal brand in relation with Ohana as well?
Just please repeat. I didn't hear that. There was a plane just flying. I didn't hear anything.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is it the last bit?
Yeah.
I was just asking how you've been able to carve your niche, because I do understand that with Ohana, you also had to, also a personal brand that correlates to Ohana as well. So how did you do that, and how did you carve out that niche for your personal brand and even for your company as well?
So for me, I think when it came to mashing even the personal brand, covering it with the business brand, I think it came more so from me being actively involved in like everything, including even the photo shoots, the creative aspect of it. So for me, it transitioned naturally, especially when people see me modeling for my own brand. I'm literally like the face of, you know, Ohana. They see, we create all the pieces we create. I use myself and some of the models as muse. So I'm like, for me, I'm curvy. So I'm like, if I try it on my body, I'm like, okay, if I'm comfortable, if this fits like a size 10 or whatever, then that's how it'll fit every other person. So you also have to have you also have to know who your market is, your demographic, you know, market is. Like, just visualize the person, and then everything else will fall into place when it comes to, you know, the needs, and even that what they like, how much, what do they buy, where do they shop, stuff like that. So yeah, I feel like that's how basically I was able to, you know, carve my niche, just by really identifying who the demographic is, and just us basing the entire thing around it, like just everything around who my customers are and what they do, their personalities, their hobbies, and all that stuff. So yeah, and also on the part of just the competition, for me, I necessarily don't look at, I don't know if it's a good thing, but I don't necessarily look at the other companies or sumo, what they're doing. For me, I always aim to just improve from Ohana. From our last collection, I usually just ask for, you know, like the constructive criticism from customers. I take all their comments and then I improve upon it. So to, you know, to just maintain the loyalty and bring in new people and new categories of, you know, the customers and stuff like that. So I actually don't, I know this sounds so bad, but I don't know what the other swimwear brands, what designs there, unless my friends send me and they think it's a cool design. But I really don't follow what I follow on the industry as a whole, like what the swimwear industry and just the sports and recreation industry is doing, stuff like that. But I don't necessarily follow on other swimwear brands. Yeah. So, but for me, I try to be also proactive and fast. Like, for instance, during the pandemic, when we first started, I was thinking, how can we even market? And for me, I focused on creating value for my company, not necessarily profits and stuff like that during the pandemic. So I started doing, we rebranded again. And the first thing immediately we did, we also were part of the people who hopped on the challenges that people were doing on Instagram. So that really brought us a lot of, you know, engagements and eventually even sales, because people were like, oh, I want to do this. This is so cool wearing this bikini here. And it also brought us an international audience as well, because when people just reshare and they share your videos, they share your page, you know, it's just an authentic engagement, which really helped us. And then we just launched the collection with 3D as well, 3D animation. So which also the engagement, everyone was just sharing. So it's like free marketing for us during the pandemic. So for us, that's why I said you have to know your audience and you have to know your demographic, and you go with what they're doing, not necessarily what other brands are doing or what designs they're making. So that's like how I stay relevant, and that's how I was able to carve the niche.
Thank you, Nema. That's a really cool way of looking at it. I mean, you know, I'm just focusing on your customers and what they want and creating value around them. That's why you've been growing. I saw the 3D video. It was really cool and quite unique. I shared it as well, just because, you know, it looked really nice. So I see what you mean. You know, you capture your market. I'd like to pose the same question to Nancy. How did you cover your niche, like, you know, both personally and, you know, for your company as well? How were you able to build that? How do you keep up with competition? Do you block out the noise as well? Do you keep up with them and improve? You know, I'd like to know about, you know, how it is for you.
Oh, wow. I feel like Nema, you know, like came into my brain and picked the things that I wanted to say. But that's the beauty of entrepreneurship. When you all meet, you kind of feel like you share the same sentiments and the same problems and the same solutions. So yeah, for us, we are also customer oriented, and we focus so much on our customer, and we focus on us and building us as opposed to who else is doing it. If we look at who else is doing it, then we look at it in terms of how do we collaborate. Because someone said collaboration is the new competition, right? So we don't really look at other people like competitors. We look at them like how exactly can we come together and do amazing things. And then for us, it's just about we are that selfish. It's about our customers. You know, we focus on the good communication. I feel like some years back when I was buying the TV, if someone really kept me in the loop, your TV is like this is what happened and stuff and all that, I wouldn't have, you know, like gotten angry with the whole situation. So we really focus on our communication with the clients, because our strategy is customer retention as opposed to trying get, you know, like clients every now and then. So if we get one client, we focus on really retaining this client as we focus, as you know, like we work on adding others. And then we have personalized, you know, services. We are very flexible when offering our services, so we kind of tailor make our services to like suit that particular client. Like I've said, we're very selfish, but we are totally customer oriented. Yeah.
Thank you, Nancy. So guys, there's a lot of focus on your customer. Learn your customer, and you know, your customer is going to help you find your next customer, because good service speaks for itself, good products speak for themselves. So guys, you know, I hope you learn, because I am. So I'm just going to quickly move on to the next question and just ask. So I know it's been a difficult journey for both of you. It's been really hard starting out. And if I could just ask, what are some of the critical tips that someone has ever shared with you that has been, you know, of importance to your career, or like of importance to your journey as an entrepreneur? So Nancy, if you could take the question first.
Yeah, so like I said earlier, build a lot of collaborations with other guys, because when a client comes to you and you're not able to do the job, really most of the clients don't care about how you do the job, so long as you deliver it perfectly. They don't care if you collaborated with someone else. They don't care if you did not sleep at night. Like, just focus on building a lot of collaborations in your industry. And then build worthy networks. They say your network is your net worth. So just focus on building networks every time. And for us, how I've been able to get to where I am is through referrals. Most of the times we get a lot of referrals. How do we get this? You need to make sure that you're very reliable. If you promise you're going to do this, just make sure you do it, right? So that even people refer people who they trust. So make people trust you. And at times it takes time for people to trust you, especially when you're starting a new business. So be patient. You will not start today and make money tomorrow. That I promise you for sure. So be patient with yourself. At times, just keep moving. Some things will just find you on the way. Yeah, so, you know, like, these are some of the things that have been able to, you know, like, keep me grounded, especially on the trustworthy bit, because I've realized this world is very small. You walk in somewhere and you're like, oh my God, I know this person. And you didn't expect, like in this forum, you will meet someone who knows you, or someone who knows someone that you know. So make sure you're very reliable. Make sure you don't take people's money and don't deliver. Yeah.
Thank you, Nancy. There's something that another ambassador from the ambassador for Uganda mentioned during some previous session that we had about social capital and how important it is. I guess, you know, same thing, your network is your net worth. and how sometimes it could greatly reduce, your costs and help you, achieve even greater things. So thank you for mentioning that, Nancy. Just as a quick follow-up, just to ask, is there anything you wish someone had told you? Because, I know you mentioned that, you didn't have a mentor and, you wish someone was there to hold your hand, but is there anything you wish you'd known beforehand, before starting? Because this isn't easy.
Yeah, I wish someone would have told me that the journey is difficult. I can't emphasize enough on that. This journey is very difficult. But because when I went in, I was like, you know what? I want to be an entrepreneur. I want to be like Bill Gates. I want to be like, so it's like, you know what? I am starting, boom. And then the next minute, I'll be like Bill Gates. So I really wish someone had prepared me mentally and psychologically. But then again, we are here. So I say if other people are doing it, then you can also do it.
Thank you. It's no easy journey. Nama, I'd like to pose the same questions to you. If you'd like to share maybe, your key learnings in your journey and, what you wish someone have told you before you started Ohana.
So I think the first thing I would say is, you can't get, advice for what you should do with your life. Because I feel like that's because everyone was just giving me their, their, just their 2 cents on everything. And they haven't even walked the mile. They don't know nothing about your entrepreneurship journey or even the swimwear industry. It's just everyone is in your ear like, these are the designs that will sell, this is what I wear, this. So for me, I feel like that would be my thing. Just like, you can't get advice for what you should do with your life. And in this current economy, you'd rather create opportunity rather than waiting for it to rather than wait for it to come to you. So just keep learning, whether it's from words of wisdom from your own mistakes, actually from your own mistakes. So for me, I feel like the growth mindset is the one which will keep you moving forward onto the path of success. And that's literally the biggest thing I've learned, just having to keep learning and the growth mindset, because everything is literally changing. So you have to just adjust, also just be proactive and adjust. And also when it comes to like fashion is always changing. It's an industry that needs to keep on moving to survive. So for me, it's also learning about creating bold moves and just being a leader within that industry, because that's where basically you will thrive. So just forge ahead with these bold ideas and having a pre-purpose for your business, and always reminding yourself why you started, why are you doing this, your mission and your vision for your business. So I think that's just basically it when I'm summarizing everything.
Thank you, Nama. So guys, I'm really inspired and I have, a lot more questions, but since we're running out of time, I think I'm just gonna open it up to the audience and, just take some of the audience's questions, just so, I don't have to be asking all the questions that I have. I want to hear what they have to say as well. So Claire, do you have the audience questions?
Yes. So our first tough audience question is, tell us your future dreams and ambitions and how you're working to make them a reality. So that's a big question from the audience. Maybe we can start with Nima on this one. You're laughing. So I don't know if you want to share your big goals, but yeah, this is a tough one to start with.
Yeah, it's a tough one because they say you plan, God laughs, So, but for me,
oh, Nima, you're on mute. I think it accidentally muted.
the one I want to share is one of my biggest goals is to be the leading brand championing for African swimming. So be the leading swimwear brand. So, and how I've started doing that is as of the moment. So I've started we're very inclusive. So we're the first ones to introduce the modest swimwear line, African print modest swimwear line for our Muslims and the modest community. We also introduced the kids swimwear line, and we've partnered with, like coaches and stuff. So when they start teaching children how to swim, they start with Ohana. So we're basically literally just changing the narrative from when you're a baby and moving forwards. And even just for us, we were one of the Kenyan brands to premiere in London Fashion Week this year. So already we've started just putting our name and our brand out there, as well as what else? The 3D, being the first swimwear brand to even launch in 3D and all that stuff. So everything we do is very intentional, that gears us to become the leading swimwear brand championing for Africans and Black people swimming, not just in Africa, but all over the world. So I think that's my biggest goal. Yeah.
That's great. Thank you. That is a big, ambitious goal. And yeah, from this discussion, we can tell you're making concrete steps to get there. So now, Nancy, same question to you.
So my long-term goal is to be on Forbes magazine. So don't be shocked when you see me there. I've given you guys a heads up. So yeah, and then we'd want to build more clientele and, like export to add like more countries to our export list. So that's really what we are focusing on. And of course, continue being reliable. And I always say at times, you can only have like the small goals which act as building blocks to the bigger goal. So I think that's it. Executive summary, that's it for us.
Great. I'll pass it to Ifra for the next one.
So I'm just going to ask, there's a question about, is there any point where you almost gave up on your journey? And when was this, if you would like to share with us? Nancy, would you like to go first?
Yes, when I was starting, when I got swindled, it was a very painful experience for me. So I almost gave up, because I know at times I say 700 USD might be pocket change to someone, but for me it was my 10 million. So when I was really starting out, I was like, you know what, this is not for me. Let me just give up. But someone asked me a very important question, and they were like, so if you give up, what else will you do? Because everywhere you go, you might just find the same problem. So that was a very, very, very difficult time for me. Yeah.
That must have been so tough. Thanks for picking it up, Nema, if you'd like to answer the same question.
Please repeat the question.
Is there any point within your entrepreneurial journey that you almost gave up? Would you like to share it with us?
Yeah, I have multiple multiple points where I wanted to give up. So it's not just one. But I feel like, because I've also been swindled, like it's just been a hassle trying to get the right factory, because most of the designs have been ruined. And then at the end of the day, when you don't have the finances or you're trying to scale, and even when the pandemic hit, it's like, okay, so all the hotels, everything, the borders were international, local, were all shut down. So nobody has, because mine is it's a travel necessity good, not necessarily a basic need. So I was just like, what is happening? Because people are not traveling. nobody's buying swimwear. So I've had multiple points, but again, as I said, you just always go back to your why. And for me, I get great comfort in realizing like I'm just not alone. I'm not the only one who's gone through this step. Like there are, multiple also established CEOs or entrepreneurs who've also had to pass by this stage. So, and the difference is, they never gave up. You just always have to re-strategize and all that. Because I read somewhere that, in a crisis, or when you're going through a crisis, or let's say now pandemic, your business strategy cannot be hope. You have to just sit down and reevaluate everything, come up with a new business model, all that stuff. So in such situations, that's what I just like do. I just re-strategize. I'm like, okay, this isn't working. What can I do? Or this is what's happening in the world right now. I'm not gonna focus on sales. I'm gonna focus on creating value, or even growing our online engagement, or doing this and that. So, but I've had multiple points, yeah, multiple, still ongoing, but but yeah, we move regardless.
Yeah, no, the most important thing that, is coming out of this is just not to give up, because hey, it's hard, it's very hard. We've all had multiple times where you want to give up. This is really not the easiest of journeys. Like, I mean, most people see the success and really, they don't see the troubles that one goes through. And it's really one of the hardest things to do, especially, just entrepreneurship. You take a lot of risks, you do take up a lot of work, and it's not the easiest part really, but then the most important thing, as you said, Nema, we move regardless, we keep pushing. You just never stop. So I'm just going to ask this. There's a question that's been asked that speaks to me as well, and I'd like you guys to address it. So there's someone asking about teams. Like, it's very important to have a great team, supporting you. It's very important to have a team behind you that understands the vision. I mean, you're as good as your team. I know, the founder or the CEO takes up a lot of roles, but then how was it? Like, how did you form a team that, helped Dana get to where it is today, that helped Ohana get to where it is today? How did you, what tips do you have for a proper team, and how did you find the right people that supported you in executing your vision? Nama, would you like to go first?
Yeah, sure.
Have we lost you?
No, I'm here. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? I'm here. I'm back.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. When it comes to team, for me, I was very intentional about that as well. So everyone in our team they're young people, and for me, I got young people who are actually good at whatever they're doing. Like they're good at their how do I put this? Okay, good at whatever they're doing, basically at their talents and their skills and stuff like that. So for me, I was very intentional about that. And I got literally everyone I found all of them when we were still in uni. So we're like, and everyone is hungry as well, and they're all determined to prove themselves. So even like our website, our IT guy, our systems developer and IT guy, the Ohana website is the very first website he's ever done. He hadn't even graduated, and but he was very good at such stuff, but was never given an opportunity because businesses, they want 5 years or 10 years of experience. So for me, I was very intentional about just giving young people an opportunity to even grow themselves and also learn in the journey, because we're all learning. I didn't know anything about design or even starting a business. So for me, also people who are in line with the values, because the way I said Ohana literally means family, and the values, those family values are the ones which are also our business and company values as well, that are derived from the meaning and the essence of Ohana. So I was very, very intentional about people who are going to uphold such values. And so, yeah, and who just have the skills. So for me, it didn't matter if you're in uni, if you're not in uni, if you studied for this thing, as long as you know how to do it, then I'm down. I'm down to work with you, yeah.
Nancy, would you like to share your opinions on the same question?
Yeah, I think that's a very, very important question, because at times you might have a very good plan, you might have a very good vision, but if you can't work alone. So if you don't have people supporting you in the journey, I don't think you'll be able to realize your dreams or ambition. So for us, we really look at character. Character is very important because we understand that our employees represent us as a company. So when our employee or someone from my team talks to a client, they're representing the whole organization. So we kind of look at someone's character. And then I know we also have cases where employees kind of steal or lie to clients and stuff. So that's very, very, very important for us. And then when we do interviews, we focus on the passion and the drive as opposed to just the papers. So you might find that someone has the passion, has the drive, is willing to learn further, and they don't have the correct papers, or they don't even have that degree. So I'm like, if I did it without going to school for it, then I can always teach someone else who has the drive and the passion to do it as well. So those two things are very important for us. And we usually, even for our employees, we work with referrals. You might find that I have a friend who had a business and maybe they resorted to doing something else, and they had this employee who was very good, so they'll recommend them. And for us, that is really a safe space. And that's why I tell young people, make sure you're reliable in everything that you do, because you never know where your next opportunity is going to come from. Yeah.
Thank you so much. That is I've gotten a lot of words of wisdom from you guys today. I'm just to recap. It's really important to have a great team with you. It doesn't matter what their degree is, vision. If they share the vision of your company, they have the passion and the character. That's really important. That's one of the things that you really need to look at. I'm just, going to quickly just say, I had a really hard time with the team that I started with, because I did pick people who were really good at, doing what they were going to do, but then they didn't share the same vision. So we're working with a marginalized community, and it's it's one of those communities that are not easily accessible. But then we have, like, a lot of my team didn't want to work on the ground, but then most of our work involves being on the ground and working there. And everyone was just about the glamorous working of, they just wanted to work in the city. And that's really difficult, when you start, because you need people to actually go on the ground. And I had to understand that I didn't have to pick people who are good. Okay, I do need people who are good at what they do, but then not necessarily like experts who don't share the same vision, and don't have the same passion for Supermom as I do. So that was a huge learning lesson for me. And there's really so much that I know I can learn from you guys, but we're just pressed for time for now. So I'd just like to wrap it up. And thank you so much, Nancy. Thank you so much, Nema. This has been really inspiring, even for me. And I'm sure the audience shares the same opinion, because it's been coming in the chat. We've seen people really encouraged, really cheering you guys on. So keep at it. I mean, Nema, this year you debuted at the London Fashion Week virtually. I mean, we can't wait for the bigger things. Nancy, you've moved from motorcycles to exports now. And I mean, I really can't wait to see you on Forbes, and I know you'll get that, definitely. So I'd just like to pass it on to Claire to just close close of this session today. Thank you so much again. And thank you so much for the people that have been able to join us today.
Yes, and thank you to you, Ifra, for being our moderator. It was really nice to hear this conversation between three incredible young Kenyan entrepreneurs about your journeys. And I love the fact that you also had some of these insights to share as well, Ifra. So I just wanted to say thank you again to Nancy and Nema for being part of this session. Thank you to the audience as well for your great questions. This will be a recurring webinar with fireside chats featuring young Kenyans talking about their story and sharing learnings, because what we hear time and again is, although finance is of course of critical interest to young entrepreneurs, so is learning from the experience of others. And so thank you so much, Nancy and Nima, for passing your incredible insights on to the next generation and even the current generation of entrepreneurs who can learn from the hardships and the successes that you guys faced. So I just want to close by saying this is an event, again, led by the Yay chapter in Kenya. I shared the link to join the WhatsApp chat, but please also join the Yay community platform online to stay connected with young entrepreneurs from this community and to continue to share insights and to gain knowledge and experience. This event was supported as well by Ashoka in East Africa, and we have Brian, who is our lead there. I don't know, Brian, if you just want to say a few closing words.
Oh no, I don't want to. Sorry, I don't want to take away from what Neema and Nancy have just shared today. I think they've just done a beautiful job in sharing their stories, very inspirational, nice, quotes that we've taken away from this. And I'm hoping that everyone was inspired. That's it from me. Thanks.
Thanks so much, Brian. That's perfect. We love the support. Cool. So with that, I will close the session and just again say thanks to everyone for joining us. And we'll see you on the next session of How Did They Do It? Thanks, everyone. Have a good rest of your day and happy Monday.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, guys.